Welcome back to the show, everybody. Your guest today is me. I'm by myself. Obviously, we didn't get a show out earlier this week, so I felt like it was needed for me to come on here, talk about it, talk about what I've been thinking about, talking about what's been going on. So, why there wasn't a show this week? I went to vacation. I was on vacation from Thursday to, it was supposed to be Monday. But as you guys may or may not know, on Friday there was a massive CrowdStrike update that messed up a lot of Windows computers, and that affected the entire world. And affected the airline industry, retail industry, food service industry, all these things. So that being said, I wasn't affected by it Thursday because it didn't happen yet. But on Friday we heard about it, and we didn't really think that it was going to affect us coming back. But obviously, there were people always traveling Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People actually got stuck from Friday throughout the entire weekend trying to get home because of that update that messed up a bunch of Windows computers. Still messing up them now. They haven't fixed it entirely. So I went to Vegas. Pretty smooth until we got to Monday. Monday, we were supposed to have a flight going out at 6:15 a.m. And I was flying standby. So due to that, pretty much, if you guys don't know what it is you wait for a seat to free up. And if there's enough seats open, they'll let you on and you'll fly back to your given destination. But we weren't able to get a seat until the second to last flight of the night, which was at 7:15 p.m. Thankfully, we got on. And then when we got on, we actually rolled around the runway for about an hour ish, and they told us that we ran out of we took too much fuel. We burned too much fuel on the runway, so we're gonna have to go back to the gate. Everyone was pissed because like it was already delayed like an hour and a half past what it was actually supposed to be. So we get back to the gate, and then I was sitting at a window, or not at a window. I was in the aisle seat, but I could see out the window, and they were taking the bags off. They started taking the bags off of the plane, and we're like, that's odd. If they're literally just refueling and leaving, why would they be taking the bags off of the plane? About 5 minutes later or so, the gate agent comes back and says that, hey, we're deplaning. We don't have any information about this yet. They're still refueling. Everyone has to get off, bring everything. We'll let you know, and as soon as possible. I think this was around probably 8:45, maybe 9, after we got on the plane, rolled back, and everything happened. We waited for about an hour to hear back from anyone at all. And we actually really didn't. They didn't make an announcement or anything. We just heard somebody that went up, or some people got like notifications on their phone that the flight was actually delayed until the next day at 10 a.m. So we were at the airport from probably 5:45, 5:30, 5:45 to pretty much 11 p.m. Had to come back the next day around, obviously the plane was going to take off around 10. It didn't take off till like 10:45, so we got there around 8:30 or 8-ish, got through security around 8:30. Spent 13 hours at the airport on Monday, spent a good amount of time at the airport on Tuesday, got home around 5 p.m. on Tuesday night. Given that we are in Illinois, where it's Central Time Zone, and Vegas is Pacific Time Zone, so 2 hours the behind Illinois. So we would have got back around 3 if it was Vegas time, but 5 because of Illinois time. So I was planning on doing this video actually Tuesday if we were going to get in on time, because if we left at 10, we would have been back around 3-ish, 3:30 or 4. And I think I would have had enough time in between having to go to bed and being able to prep for this a little bit to get this out pretty much for Wednesday. But unfortunately, I did not. Either way, doing it now, obviously, but the trip to Vegas was awesome. We had a lot of great food. Really invested in my culture this time. I am Filipino, so ate a ton of Filipino food while I was there. We wanted to go there specifically for a restaurant called Din Tai Fung, which is like a dim sum restaurant. We had some crazy good dumplings, some good beef noodle soup. Um, Overall, just a really really good experience. That was the second time we went there, but we really didn't get to experience it the first time. We just didn't necessarily know what we wanted to eat or what we wanted to get. So glad we were able to do it again. Um, they only have a few locations. I think it's like New York, which might even be coming soon. They might not even have it in New York yet. Vegas, I think California, and then Washington, Seattle. Uh, Other than that, there's only a few of them. So we are super excited because it's so limited. We actually had a really good reservation time on Saturday night. Got to enjoy that. Had a really nice night, really fun night. And then we came home on, I guess, Tuesday. We had a good time overall. But um, related to that, I think I brought this up in the Brandon episode, the Brandon Steiner episode, with um, in relation to him getting hurt and even me getting hurt. I guess I didn't really do a great job of explaining what chaos theory was. Pretty much, it's just like it's the idea of butterfly effect. It's pretty similar. That small things that you do will turn into bigger things in the future. For example, what did I do leading up to my time of getting surgery to allow myself to get that surgery? What did I do to hurt myself? What did I do when I was younger to build a certain arm slot, throwing a certain way that made me hurt myself in a given period of time to get surgery? And then because I got surgery, I had 6 months. I wasn't completely off. I had to go to PT and stuff, but the time that I spent working out and training was minimal compared to what I was supposed to be doing if I wanted to become a college athlete. What did I do leading up to that point that could have changed that? For example, like leading up to that point as well, when I got that surgery and that 6 months that I had to recover, I found that love for gaming. Like I said, I talked about this in the Brandon episode. I found that love for gaming. All I could do is sit on my computer and game in my free time other than do homework, right? I can't go out and I mean I probably could have run. I could probably do legs, but I'm not to the extent of how much knowledge I have now than I was back then. Obviously, I was pretty uninformed and unknowledgeable within the area of training, lifting, stuff like that. So wasn't really informed enough to be able to say, okay, my arm may be messed up, but I can do some certain exercises. I just wasn't into lifting like that. But then that led me into falling in love with gaming for a little bit, at least I would say a good amount of time. Got really good at Fortnite. Ended up going to play professionally Fortnite, made some money, which ended up leading into a pretty unstable mental health, like I wouldn't say condition, definitely not a condition, but just state, I guess, mental health state that led me into a lot of anger, reflected on pretty much every aspect of my life. It was an addiction, but I also hated it at the same time. So like I would get on and I would play and I would want to play, but I would also hate playing because one, I didn't like playing by myself. I didn't really seek out the I should say I didn't want to see myself fail. So I didn't want to push myself into an uncomfortable position playing against new players each and every day. I wanted to play against the same people every day because it was fun. It made the most fun out of it by playing with my friends. Then again, it's like that held me back a little bit because I was pretty decent, but I wasn't playing people that were better than me. I was playing people that were either same skill level or same or even worse, I should say, which then leads to a bunch of different things, right? So it's just the idea of how chaos theory really impacts everything. Like what could have been done going into this CrowdStrike program that led to this complete crash of I think it was like millions, maybe even billions of Windows computers. And what could they have done to either prevent that or what did they do to cause it? I had a small conversation with a friend in the last couple of days. Is that updates like this should have some sort of testing beforehand. They should have something that goes in. Okay, if we run this, is it going to affect anything else? And obviously, they either tested it and realized it was going to crash everything, and then said, "Great, this is exactly what we want to happen, and we're going to send it out." Or they were just like, you know what? I think we're experienced enough to send it out without checking and we're good. We should be fine. And then of course it happened. Whatever happened. We don't know what the intention was behind it, but who knows what could have been done leading up to that, even 10 years in the past, 20 years in the past, that could have led to this certain person sending that update out and then crashing all these computers and really just messing up so much stuff. Like, I know Starbucks was having issues, United was having issues. I think Southwest, Delta, a lot of the airlines were really messed up. A lot of flight cancellations. Like, we were pretty lucky to get to Vegas when we did because we got there on Thursday, and it didn't really affect anything on Friday for us when we were there, which is very interesting too, because if you think about Vegas, it's all about gambling. All these slot machines and stuff are run on computers. All the computers and these slot machines ran completely fine. So that makes me think, like, if there's an update or something that crashes computers all around the globe, how did none of these computers at the casinos get crashed? How did they not break down? Can you imagine the amount of revenue that Vegas would lose if they had a weekend, literally a weekend of zero people gambling because of all the crashes? That doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. Like, literally all of these machines are run on, they probably are Windows machines. I don't know. I don't think they're not going to be running on Mac. There's just no way. They're all some sort of computers, especially because they have to have some sort of machine learning algorithm to determine whether someone's going to win or not, or if someone needs to hit like this machine needs to hit a quota for money and blah, blah, blah. It's very interesting to look at how none of these slot machines that I saw, at least, were down. But you'd walk around in certain hotels. I think it was the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and you see the TVs that are in the lobbies and stuff. They were down, but none of the slot machines were down. So I think that's very interesting to look at. And like I said, I feel like one weekend of no gambling at all, none of these slot machines are live, is devastating to not just the state of Nevada, but the entire economy. I feel like the entire economy would go down so much. Like, if you just think of all the casinos, and I mean, obviously Vegas is a hub for them, but there's got to be casinos everywhere, and they bring in a lot of revenue. Like, there's a lot of gamblers. To think of how important, how much revenue that actually is taken in and is able to be used for other things, I would love to actually look into the percentage of how much gambling is of the revenue of whatever the US in a certain year, because there's just no way they would allow for something like that to happen. When it comes to money, any country is not going to fuck around when it comes to, they're going to get messed up with it. Something's going to happen. They're taking money out of their own pocket. Like, that company would have been, CrowdStrike would be even worse off, I think, if something like that happened to the casinos. Then again, I actually don't know how these slot machines work. I obviously know they run on computers. They could be running on Linux or something that's not Windows, but I would assume, with Windows being very popular and Microsoft running the computer industry for a while now, that they would be running on Windows, especially with, like I said, like the monitors and stuff just throughout the hotels were Windows as well. So very interesting how some things work still. Looks very odd to me that it's only certain computers and stuff. I'm curious if, I don't know if it's like just I don't know if it's like every single PC, or it's only PCs relative to like retail business and stuff like that, because I don't have my Windows PC plugged in. So I guarantee, because it's my personal computer, like, it's not going to go down because of it. And then again, I run this one as a Mac. So it's not going to obviously hit my Mac because it's not Windows, unless I have like a Windows environment or something, which I don't even know if that would work either. But um, moving on from chaos theory, there is this interesting thing that I heard about a baseball player. His name is Nick Castellanos, and he plays for the Phillies. And supposedly, every time he hits a home run, there is some sort of tragic event happen, or they're speaking about somebody passing away, stuff like that. And literally, it's obviously not 100%, but let me just look up this really quick. So it says this is a Nick Castellanos' bad timing timeline. Every somber moment interrupted by Philly star from 2020 to now. Let's see. So starting on August 19th, 2020, there was his name was, it was a Reds play-by-play broadcaster, Tom Brenneman, who was caught on the hot mic saying a homophobic slur and subsequently resigned. As he was on television for giving his apology, Nick Castellanos hit a home run. Moving on to July 5th, 2021, he homered while the Royals broadcaster was eulogizing a World War II veteran who had died at 97. Very odd. March 27, 2022, he came through with his first hit in the Phillies uniform while the Blue Jays spring training broadcast was discussing pitching coach Pete Walker's apology for DUI arrest. May 30th, he didn't let Memorial Day pass without hitting a home run in 2022. While homering on Memorial Day is nothing notable of itself, he hit a blast just as Phillies broadcaster Tom McCarthy was paying tribute to fallen service members. August 11, 2023. The moment happened in Game 3 of the NLDS when Castellanos hit his second home run of the night while TBS broadcaster Brian Anderson was sending well wishes to former Phillies coach Charlie Manuel, who had suffered stroke in September. June 8th, 2024, Castellanos has a walk-off hit during the day, which the sports world mourned Giants legend Willie Mays, who had died at 93. And then recently, July 13th, he blasted a 2-run home run in the second inning of the Phillies game against the A's. Not anything significant happened at that moment, but 2 hours later, Donald Trump was shot. And then on July 21st, he had a deep fly ball to left field on Sunday, July 21st, just about 2 hours after Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race. So obviously, I don't know exactly if this is all of his home runs or if it just happens to be like some of the home runs land on some sort of tragedy or something being discussed, which is just so odd to me because, like, how does that even happen? Like, what are the chances that something like this happens? It just goes back to, if you look at like a graph that says, okay, home run when something tragic is talked about, somebody died, something happened in the news. If you look at it, if it's all his home runs, it's going to be 1-to-1. There's going to be a 100% correlation with when he hits a home run. There's going to be something that happens or is talked about at that given time. But then it goes back to, like, obviously this is not a large data set. That was only a handful amount of home runs that he was actually to hit one during those specific times. But that just goes back to the causation doesn't necessarily mean correlation, because you don't have a large enough data set to be able to say that, yes, every time he hits a home run or something good happens for him, there is something tragic that's going to happen, because that would be something that needs to be studied. Then again, you could have people that are trying to support this narrative of, hey, when he comes up to bat, no matter what is going on, just talk about something, mourn someone, bring up some sort of news that is going on in the world to make it, if he does hit a home run, they can say, oh, this broadcaster was talking about this at this time. It's very possible. I would say it's most possible, obviously, during the Phillies games. And then there's, of course, the coincidences that could be talking about another game, and he hits a home run during that time about someone passing away or whatever. But it just really is interesting to talk about the coincidences that are possible, and how just abstract some things can really be. I heard this thing for the first time. I don't know exactly when I heard it. It definitely was back towards 2020, I think, like when I first initially heard of something like this, because when I saw it again the other day, it reminded me of it. I remember hearing about it before. But I didn't really think about it. Didn't think it was anything crazy. I think it was just like he had a commonality of hitting a home run when somebody was talking about something, and it wasn't that big. But obviously, it's been pretty much 4 years now since he's continued to do this over the last 4 years. But like I said, that was only like 8 home runs. 8 home runs in 4 years is pretty bad. So he has to have other hits, home runs, important moments in his career that just aren't correlated with certain events. So, yes, there may be some sort of correlation to it, but there's not necessarily any importance of it because there's, especially with at bats in baseball, you have 192 games, 182 games. The amount of at bats that you have, the amount of chances that you have to either say something during him hitting a home run or a hit or whatever are pretty high. If you think of, okay, an average of 3 at bats per game and it's 182 games, that's 500 chances for you to say something during his at bat while he hits a home run. That's a pretty good chance, I would say, if especially if you use that, like, oh, when he comes up the bat, I want to make sure I say something about it. There's obviously that chance or the want to try and get this news to go out because it's good news. People want to talk about that. People want to see this. Oh my God! Every time he hits a home run, something's going to happen. Then again, it could be bad if this, something comes out and says this is literally always going to happen, which is not possible. He could hit a home run and some bad things can happen. So hopefully it doesn't continue. It's a pretty interesting and intriguing story, I would say. Just there's a lot going on in the world, and I can't imagine there actually being a correlation to it, especially with the amount of data that you would have to discover and collect and clean and all this blah blah blah, that it would be able to find evidence that he is a reasoning for this. And what they couldn't do anything about it. He's not doing anything wrong. He's doing his job. Moving on. On the plane, this was actually on the first plane that we got on before we had a deplane. Something triggered my mind to talk about adapting to your environment. Now, I don't know why sometimes, but literally some small things will happen. I'll see someone do an action. I'll hear a certain word, hear a certain phrase, and I'll be able to just like, okay, I want to write something about this. In like a 10 to 15, maybe 20-minute time frame, I was able to write, I think it was like 750 words, 750 word essay about adapting to your environment, how important it is that you should try to adapt to your environment. Everyone needs the ability to adapt. If you get put into a new job, you get put into a new position at school or in a sport or whatever, and it's difficult, and then it gets easier over time. You're adapting. But if you don't allow yourself to get out there and put yourself into that position to adapt, you're obviously not going to have that ability to adapt. So I think the idea behind this is I've had a want to adapt to my environment. I feel like I would say last year I was pretty comfortably complacent where I didn't want to do anything new. I was pretty comfortable. I was going to the gym. It was literally my life. Like gym, eat, work. That's it. Like on the dot. Like went to sleep, gym, work, gym, eat, over and over and over again. That was a cycle. Then again, I did make my progress and I adapted to my work schedule and stuff, but I was getting better in terms of working out and lifting, but I wasn't bettering myself. I was kind of not into my degree that I was doing at the moment. I was doing things that were easy for me. And I think that really kind of changed because I think it was really the beginning of the year and then going into the summer when I was training for a half marathon. And I really knew that I needed to train much harder than I was. I need to build my mental capacity to be able to withstand running 13.1 miles because running is just a mental thing to begin with. So being able to do that was definitely adapting to my environment, being able to adapt to the course that I'm running each and every day, running on the treadmill, stuff like that. Things changing. But you have to give yourself the opportunity to adapt. I wouldn't have gave myself that opportunity to adapt if I didn't sign up for that half, right? I didn't give myself the opportunity to adapt now if I didn't sign up for another half, and then sign up for a marathon. So, and this goes along with job, training, like I said, learning any skills, and just wanting to be better in general. To adapt is to improve. And if you don't improve, you're obviously not going to really get that far. And I think everyone should take a step back and look at where they are right now. Unless, of course, you're very comfortable, you're making a lot of money, making a good amount of money, you like what you're doing, then maybe you don't need to adapt as much. But I would say this is for people that are uncomfortable with the position that they're in currently. You need to figure out a way to adapt. You need to put yourself in a uncomfortable situation. You need to get yourself up earlier if you want to go to the gym, eat better if you want to start, get a diet, lose some weight. Put yourself out there if you want to meet new people. Like these people can lead to a better job, can lead to a happier life, more friends, better relationships. But you can't do that unless you give yourself that opportunity. Like one of the biggest things I've realized recently is that just by simply having a conversation with people on your day to day, whether it's at work, at the grocery store, at the gym, you can learn so much in that small, uncomfortable time that you're in that it makes a long lasting impact on your day, your week, your month. Like once you learn about this person's job and their life and how they're feeling and stuff, and you continue to do that each and every day, you build that relationship with them. It used to be a uncomfortable thing that you went into, and then you adapted to the situation by learning more about them and using that information that you've learned to connect with them a little bit better. Oh, I just spilled something. Do I have a towel? I do have a towel. Whoops, I just spilled something. All right. We're good. See, I adapted. It's funny. That's something that is interesting to me. That I think reaction and making or reacting to situations, whatever it is, something happens on the whim, somebody spills something. You have to make a quick decision. You adapt over time to that. Like for example, I see people at work every day that spill something and they just literally look at it and just let it keep spilling. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, stop looking at it. Stop just, oh my God, I just spilled something. Pick up a towel and wipe it. Stop it from spilling. Being able to adapt to that also teaches you to react a lot faster. Um, Reacting quicker than you were able to before makes you make more decisions quicker. We talked about this in one of the podcasts. I don't exactly remember which one it was, but the ability to make decisions quicker rather than taking, let's say you have, like literally talked about this. If you have 5 decisions that you need to make and you usually take a day per decision, and you instead say, okay, I'm going to make 2 decisions per day instead of 1, that means you're making 10 decisions instead of 5 decisions in a given week. You're doubling your amount of decisions that you make, which means you're getting more done, taking less off of your mind, and you're being able to produce more. You're adapting to your environment. So in this article that I'm probably going to post on Substack that you guys can really read it related to my girlfriend becoming a flight attendant. So to become a flight attendant, it's pretty rigorous, I would say. The training is pretty rigorous. They fly you out to wherever their hub is. I don't know if it's exactly the same for everything, but for my girlfriend's airline, they fly you out to the given big hub that they have. And you go through an interview. Of course, I think it's like a 1-day or 2-day interview. I don't exactly remember, but they pretty much test how you can interact with people, how you obviously your skills that you have, if you're tall enough and you can lift things up certain enough, like actually being able to do the job. And then once you get selected to go to training, they send you out to that hub again, and they have you go through 6 weeks of training, which, like I said, it's pretty rigorous. You stay in a hotel, you go to training each and every day for like 12 hours. You have to study material, you have to do exams, you have to do procedures. And if you don't do these procedures, you end up you fail and you get sent home. And the reason why I think this is really sweet and really admirable of my girlfriend, I admire her for doing this, is because this is something that she didn't necessarily think she wanted to do or didn't think she was going to do ever. It was just, you know what? This seems like a cool thing to do. I'm going to do it. And she adapted to her environment. She wasn't interested in planes and flight attendant that much. She heard about it. She thought it was cool. And then she decided to, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I got an interview. I fly out. I make it. Go to training for 6 weeks. And she adapted and passed. You know, to pass 6 weeks of training, 6 weeks of hard training where you're going, I think it was 6 days a week. I don't think you really even had a day off. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and being able to perform test well enough to be able to get onto that next level, to actually get your what is it called? Get your wings is crazy, because you have to do so much work. And at the top of that, she was studying for her degree, her bachelor's degree as well. So she was doing 2 times the work that everyone else was doing, pretty much, in a completely new environment, in a completely new topic and genre that she wasn't familiar with. She adapted. And that's why I personally would love to do something not like that, because I think the idea of being a flight attendant is cool, but I don't think I'm about it enough where I'd want to study and do exactly what she did. She wanted it. She put in that effort because she wanted it. And I just don't think I could want it that much. It's just something that I don't think I would want. But I want to find that thing that I want to do, and find that passion for it. That's why I've been actually heard this thing recently. It was from Jordan Peterson, and very simply, I'm going to explain it very simply. It's just like, if you find or hear something that really gets to you and really you're passionate about, you hear it and you start doing it and you're like, wow, this is really fun. Like, I want to find my route into this. Study that and go for it. You either have 2 options. You pretty much said you had 2 options. You either reject it, or you let it not control you, but you let it, you give into it, and you do your research. And that's why I feel like I'm so passionate about this show, this podcast. Is I didn't even realize it before I saw that video with Jordan Peterson. It was actually the Joe Rogan podcast that came out this morning, and I just started watching some of it. And it was just explaining that you should follow your passions, follow the things that you find interest in, and see where they take you. Because not only is that going to lead you into a better life, it's going to help you enjoy yourself more. Finding those things that you truly enjoy and are passionate about, instead of just doing things because they sound like a good idea, actually having connection to the work and the effort that you put in, you're going to obviously want to do that more. And I've had a love for the podcast from the start. Like, it's just the idea of editing it and learning each and every day, learning more, reading about things, having conversations with people is so fun. So fun to me. And there was another podcast that I was listening to, was Modern Wisdom with Brett Cooper. I think it was Brett Cooper. I don't actually remember. But pretty much they went on to say that, or she said, Brett said that when she doesn't, she's like works for the Daily Wire, makes content for, I think her thing's called like the comment section. But she said when she doesn't do this stuff, doesn't make content with the video in her face and whatever, she feels like something's missing. And that's exactly how I've been feeling. And I'm only 6 months into this. This would be the 24th episode. So that would be 6 months of the show, which is absolutely blows my mind, because a half a year has already gone by. But I do feel like a sense of emptiness when I don't do the show, when I'm anxious about who's going to come on next, or how I'm going to format things, or how I'm going to put content out, because I want people to see it. I want people to learn, and I want to see improvement. I just love the idea of being able to go back in time not literally, but watch our old videos or watch our old podcasts to see the difference in our ability to speak, our ability to converse with each other, our ability to ask people questions, good quality questions, and be interested in them. I feel like I've improved a lot, especially because I used to make YouTube videos and I was very adamant about if someone was behind me, someone heard me making a video, I would pause, I would get mad because I'm like, dude, why are they making noise, man? Like I'm trying to record a video here. Like, come on. But now it's different. Even now, like this has gotten easier. I think one of the hardest things ever is to literally stare into a lens and just talk to it. You're the only person in the room. You're the only person that can hear your voice. You're the only person that can judge yourself. And you have to sit here and try to be not perfect, because no one will ever be perfect, but you have to be good. I have to be entertaining. You have to communicate well enough to get my message across. And that is something that I'm so excited to do, dude. I see it rubbing off on my conversations with people, on how I'm obviously doing this now. We're 36 minutes into this and I'm able to converse still and talk about things that come off the top of my head. And I think that's just, it shows that one, I have adapted to my environment, the work that I've been putting in, um, to look up things, read things, research things, talk about stuff that I like talking about, has made me better. And 6 months of the show has been so much fun, and I cannot wait to continue doing it. Like, for example, my girlfriend got this mic for our 7th year anniversary, and I was like, dude, this is so freaking cool, because I've always wanted a Shure mic. I get that, like, there's only a certain amount of improvement you can make at a certain time. Like, you only get a better mic, you only get a better camera, you can only, I don't know, get a good guest or something, but there's only a certain amount of factors that you can change when you're with a show. And some people are only going to come if it looks good, sounds good, but then like if the content's not there, like there's no substance to it, there's obviously going to be a lack of audience. But I just love the idea that I'm improving. Like this mic sounds, I think it sounds awesome. I think it's cool. It's just the little things that really get you going. Like somebody asked me this question yesterday or 2 days ago or today maybe. It was, what is your weird interest? Like what is your weird interest? What are you so obsessed about? And this is it. This is that thing. This is the thing that I had said that Jordan Peterson was talking about, was this is that thing that's pulling me in, that's trying to have me decide, do I want to reject it or do I want to let it control me for a little bit? And this is it. I'm so passionate, so interested in completing these shows, becoming a better speaker, becoming a better communicator, trying to learn more about people, that I don't care about what the end result is. If something happens with it, cool. But I'm getting to talk to cool people, talk to the people that I haven't talked to in forever, and get to learn more about them, learn more about each other together. And I have enjoyed every moment of it. It's so much fun. Um, I can't wait to continue to interview people. I have a couple people that I'm trying to get on maybe this weekend to see if I can have one out. So I'm going to post this as soon as it's done. And then I have a couple people I can see if I can get on for this upcoming Wednesday. So we have another show doesn't get missed. But it's just about enjoying every moment. There were some moments that I was like, dude, I don't know how I feel about this. And then there's some great moments where like, dude, this is so much fun. Like there's definitely the ups and downs. It's a lot of hard work. Podcasting is extremely hard work, especially with content creation, clip creation, titles, thumbnails, making sure it gets out at some certain time, especially working it within a time frame of like making sure I can get my school stuff done. There's so many different factors that go into it that allow you to enjoy the aspect of actually talking. Like when you're in a conversation with people, in a conversation like me and Tommy are talking to someone, or I'm just in an interview with someone, That's the those are like the golden moments. Those are like when you don't have anything else to worry about. You're in the show. That's what's going on right now. You're talking. Just like right now, we're talking, and that's it. Like I'm focused on this. I don't have anything else to worry about. But then those moments that like kind of suck where you're editing a lot. Like when we first started the show, that's why I really appreciate having an online studio, because it's much easier to edit. Doesn't take as much time to get through what exactly we need to get through. But when we first started the show, editing was very time consuming. And also at the time, during that, it was like February, I was taking two pretty difficult classes. One coding class that literally took like 20, maybe 25 to 30 hours a week of work if you actually want to get all of the work done. You have to spend so much time like actually coding and reading and stuff, given it is a coding class and it's tough. But trying to get this done while trying to figure out how I'm going to time manage myself with my homework and stuff. Yet I always wanted to focus on the show. I had that passion from the beginning that like, dude, like this is just all I want to focus on. I don't care about my homework right now. I did it. Obviously, I did my homework and I did it well, but it was like I don't want to focus on my homework. I want to do the thing that I enjoy. Um, but like the times that I had to struggle, like, okay, I have to do homework right now. I know I want to do the podcast. I know I need to edit this and edit that. Those times that I struggle allowed me to enjoy the moments that I'm talking, the moments that I'm editing, making clips a lot more, because to enjoy things, you need to have uncomfortable, unenjoyable moments. Because there's this thing that goes around and people say that they don't want to have any more problems. They don't want to do anything that they don't enjoy. But if you don't have those things that you don't enjoy, you don't do those things that you don't enjoy, you're not going to be able to enjoy the moments that you do enjoy. If you have a life full of just pure enjoyment, that enjoyment's going to fade over time. So this correlates to actually going in and trying to do something uncomfortable and hard each and every day, because once you finish that, once you get to do something enjoyable, once you go home and you're able to talk to your family, talk to your friends, enjoy and hang out and eat good food or whatever it is, you're going to be able to say, I did this hard thing today. I suffered through this. Now I can enjoy myself. Now I can be myself because I don't have anything to worry about, because I already suffered today. And yes, I was suffering when I was because I wasn't just doing school at the time when I was trying to do the podcast. I was working two jobs, and I was suffering, dude. Like my sleep was bad. I would work till 10. I would have to get up at 4 the next day, and I would have homework that I need to do in between that. So like when I would have a shift that was like 1 to 10, I would do my homework or try to do some of my homework on my breaks. I had two 15-minute breaks and an hour break. I would try and do my homework during that period of time to try and get as much done, given, like I said, you need literally 20 plus hours of work to actually complete things, because you need to type it out. You can't just copy paste or whatever. You need to go and do the book work, read the book and stuff. And it was tough. It was really, really tough. And it suffered. And by doing these things that you don't like, and while you suffer, you realize, I would say, two things. One, that you're capable of doing so much more than you think. You're able to do so much more than you think. And then two, you come out so much better on the other side. You come out a stronger, more disciplined, motivated person, to be able to realize that you're able to get so much done, and you can trust yourself and have the confidence in yourself that you're able to push through those tough times. If you don't ever face adversity, you're going to have a very harsh life. If everything's always given to you, I feel like you hear those stories of like kids that are pretty much set from when they were little. They were given everything, and then they get into the workforce and something doesn't work out, and they whine and they complain about it. And that's because they never faced adversity. They never had something that wasn't given to them. And when they do face failure, that's when they shut down, and their whole world could crumble. And that is the importance of failure, the importance of adapting to your environment, the importance of putting yourself out there, and then enjoying each moment as much as possible, knowing that the time that you're in right now, these are the most important years of your life. There is tomorrow, obviously. I mean, you're not guaranteed a tomorrow, but if you're constantly seeking and wishing that each day should be over, you're going to realize that one day you're going to wish for that time back. And there was a saying, I think, that was like, what is something that a 35-year-old millionaire would ask for, or something like that? And they would ask to be back in their 20s. I don't exactly know what the given quote is, but time is so precious because it's finite. It's the only thing in the world that is finite. Not only thing, but one of the only things in the world that's finite. You can't get it back. You can't make more time. And the ability to recognize that and try and make the most out of the suffering situations, the hard situations, the things that suck, the things that you have to do, are going to make you appreciate the things that you love to do and enjoy doing so much more. All right, guys, I think that is it for today. I think that was a good little rant, but I hope you guys did enjoy this. Once again, I'm so excited to continue to do this. I apologize for the delay on this one. It's a little bit shorter than usual, but it is what it is when it's kind of like an emergency episode. But like I said, I'm going to try and get some people to come on either this weekend so I can have it ready and post it by Wednesday, or even early next week, Monday or Tuesday, to be able to post it by Wednesday. But please, 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 please start sharing this with everybody that you know. It's the easiest way for it to grow. Word of mouth is the best way to grow a podcast. Please let your friends, your family, whoever you think could benefit from these episodes, the things that we talk about, the things that we learn from others, please, please, please let somebody know. Make sure you guys follow our Instagram. It's Innate Domain Podcast. I'm putting all the links down below so you guys can check those out. I really appreciate everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Later.